Now, I know everybody on TikTok is talking about the tragic unaliving of Sonya Massey by the police in Springfield, Illinois. But did y'all know that her 4-year-old cousin, Terrell Miller, was also unalived by police in March? In fact, the day after Sonya Massey's body cam footage came out, it was announced that the police officer that shot and unalived Terrell Miller was not going to be facing any charges or discipline.
That happened earlier that day, and I talked to 2 officers or whatever, and I believe that it's the same officer that shot my mother. I talked to his partner first, then the second officer, that's the one that I think the one that did that. I talked to them, and they told me that because she was driving herself to the hospital or something. She wasn't even at the house when this was going on, but she was driving herself to the hospital. They told me that they were going to go there to help her, and then this happens.
Okay. So she was seeking help because she was trying to get help, and it's like Mr. Wilhite said, she was trying to get help. She needed a helping hand, not a bullet to the face.
That's right.
She just needed those officers to extend an ounce of humanity, not to kill her. And like we said, mental illness is real. You all may have family members who are struggling with their mental health. They deserve compassion and consideration, not excessive, unjustified force.
So this video may ruffle some feathers. I don't care. I think that it needs to be discussed. And so Sonya Massey was a black woman who was shot and killed in her home by police. She actually called the police herself because she thought that there was an intruder outside of her home. So there's body camera footage, at least from the one officer. One officer did not turn his body camera on until after. The one officer did have his body camera on the whole time. So yes, there are some issues with that, but that really doesn't have any bearing on how this.
He's spilling out misleading information. If you're gonna tell the story, tell the full story, and you have to detail it. You can't say, one of the officers, no, Grayson, camera, audio was not on.
Ultimately, I know they began to ask her about it, and they actually entered her home at that point and asked her for some identification. Again, I don't really know all of the specifics behind that, but it was still a very light conversation. She was responding to them, talking to them. They were talking and having a normal conversation. There was no indication of what was about to unfold. So the body camera footage, I mean, it's not all direct. This is coming in bits and pieces, but eventually it gets to the point where you see her standing up and there's a pot of boiling water on her stove. So I'm sure you guys have seen the videos. I don't have a video to link into this right now. I may try to, but so the cop tells her to go shut the boiling water off because he doesn't want a fire to happen, to which she replies, okay. So she goes over there and she shuts the stove off. At this point, she picks up the pot of boiling water, and she begins to walk with it towards the cops.
How when it's a island counter in front of her.
And at this point, she's still walking in their direction.
Oh, she walked a block into their direction.
Turn. He takes his front side away from her, and she's like, why are you turning? And he's like, because I don't want hot water to the face. And at that point, she says, I rebuke you. You can't really hear it too well, but that's what the transcripts say in news articles. And so he's like, huh? And at that point, she says, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. He said, you better fucking not. And at that point, they draw their guns.
Don't even have it right. He said, you better not, I'll shoot you in the fucking face. That's what he said.
And the cops. At this point, the pot is back on the counter. She puts her hands up, and the cops have their weapon saying, I will shoot you in your face, because she just had the pot of water rebuking them, which can all be considered acts of aggression. And that pot of boiling water can be considered a weapon.
So I just don't want you guys to hear anything else of what she got to say, because that right there did it for me. When she said that, oh yeah, it's over with. You get to say nothing else, because you're misleading with this information. You're out of here, buddy.
Hey guys, some of y'all have tagged me and some of
Now
you
this
messaged
is
me.
a honest,
My take
good
on the incident that happened
white
in
American right
Springfield,
here. I appreciate you, sir, for telling the
My
truth.
take is this. Miss Sonya Massey had some things going on. That night it appeared Miss Massey needed help, but instead Miss Massey was murdered. That's my short take on it. Cut and dry. She was murdered by a thug that had a badge and gun and an evil spirit. The longer version is I watched this video. I had to rewatch it to make sure I saw what I thought I saw the first time, and it really bothered me, as I know it bothered you if you've seen it. I fast forwarded to the part right before he shot, put my ear to the phone, closed my eyes. For some reason, I think I can hear better when I do that, to make sure I heard the back and forth like I thought I did. Let's rewind. First off, the guy that shot her was already a little ticked over asking her for her license, and she couldn't find it. First off, she didn't have to give him her license. She was in her home. In her home. There was no reason for her to give him her license. Fast forward, pot of water. His partner is the one that told her to go around there and get it. He's standing pretty close. Situational awareness. He backs up and moves off to the side, kind of chuckling about it. He didn't fear her, but he wasn't taking any chances at all. Completely understandable. She asks, "Where are you going?" He says, "Away from your hot, steaming water." Then she says, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus." But she's not talking to that guy. She's looking at the guy that ends up shooting her. He says, "Huh?" She says, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus." This sets him off. I rewatched it, I listened, I rewatched it over and over. She is not trying to close the gap on him. She is not drawing back to throw the hot water on him. He goes off at being rebuked. I believe this wholeheartedly. Y'all can make fun of me if you want to. I believe this. What does he say? "You better effing not, or I swear
Don't
to God,
forget,
I will
subscribe.
shoot you in the effing face."
Don't need to be a cop.
Now, I know everybody on TikTok is talking about the tragic unaliving of Sonya Massey by the police in Springfield, Illinois. But did y'all know that her 4-year-old cousin, Terrell Miller, was also unalived by police in March? In fact, the day after Sonya Massey's body cam footage came out, it was announced that the police officer that shot and unalived Terrell Miller was not going to be facing any charges or discipline. They are using Sonya Massey to cover up this announcement. Nick Gawk also did not attempt to do any first aid on the 4-year-old that he had just unalived in the chest. And here's the thing, Lieutenant Nick Gawk also knew Terrell's mother. He had been trying for years to hassle her. Here's what happened that night. On March 16th, Terrell's mother's highly intoxicated ex-boyfriend strong-armed his way into their home, telling her that if he couldn't have her, nobody could. He proceeded to spend hours essaying her at knife point. When the police were finally called, they spent 10 minutes outside of the door, not attempting to come in. Lieutenant Nick Gawk was the superior on scene who made that call. When they finally broke down the door, they found Kiana on the floor in a puddle of her own blood. She started screaming, "Save my baby, save my baby." At that point, when she said that he held the weapon to her, the woman bleeding out on the floor, instead of neutralizing the man holding a knife, they let him walk across the room into the child's bedroom. When he appeared, he was holding 4-year-old Terrell Miller in his arms with a knife against his throat and against his stomach. And with no regard for the child's safety, Nick Grock fired through Terrell, unaliving both he and the perpetrator in one bullet. The body cams will be released next week, probably Monday. When Kiana woke up in the hospital, she was informed that her son did not make it. She then had to recover from 27 incisions from that night.
So we have Isabel Butterfield. It's a catch to every story. It's gonna unfold. She is Sean Grayson's either fiance or wife, or I think they were supposed to get married or whatever, engaged. She is a nurse at whatever facility or hospital that Sonya Massey was at. So somehow something happened where she just walked out on them, and she probably told her hubby. And he probably wanted the information. I'll check it out. I'm gonna check her out. And that's why it all makes sense on why she was acting funny with them when they came to, and plus what the son said, how they encountered that same police officer. So it makes sense on how the tension was. Come on, man. Hey, more is gonna unfold in Beep TV 1. Might let you know what's going on. So, hey, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Once again, justice for Sonya Massey. I'm out.